Ladies, I'm just waiting a few moments just to see who pops on here live with me this morning. And while I'm waiting, I want to just share a few things. Just a second. Okay. So hi. For those of you who I've never met before, I would love to just introduce myself and connect with you, because I find that a lot of the things that I've been doing outside of this Facebook group are oftentimes me talking at you, or like you're not really even part of the conversation yet on the podcast. And, the intention of those things is obviously to spark a conversation and to get you thinking about things differently. But I'm excited about kicking off this weekly series because I really get to connect with you in a different way and get to hear your questions and answer them and provide a different kind of value for you with these free live trainings every week on Thursdays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. So if you're able to join us weekly, awesome. This would be a great thing to put on your calendar and actually block off time for, so that you're prioritizing your growth in your business and getting your questions answered, and that you know that this space is always here for you to be able to check in and ask some questions that might be burning for you. So I'm super excited to dive into this training today. And for those of you who haven't met me before, I'm Emily Castle. I am a soulful success coach for women leaders and entrepreneurs worldwide. I work with women from Norway to Turkey to LA to here in Charleston. I'm based in Charleston, South Carolina, but my work spans the globe, and I love that about what I do and the way that I'm able to do it. And I really believe that when a woman embraces and expresses her innate feminine wisdom, it impacts her future and the future of our world. So through everything that I do, that's the lensing that I'm looking at it for. That's my big why, and the way that I really prioritize what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. And so the podcast that I host, Sexy Soulful Success, which is one reason why you might be in this group, is really serving the purpose of having new conversations and creating this new paradigm of women's leadership, of women's voices, of women sort of shifting the way in which we do things. Because what I know to be true and what I've studied for years is that as women today, we are living in a world and we are finally achieving some sort of equality and entry into politics, into leadership, into business, into corporate America, into, those scales are rebalancing in a way that they never have before. And so I believe that we live in a very special time, and it is a very exciting time to be a woman, very full of possibility and opportunity. And at the same time, with that newness and with that shifting happening and rebalancing, we are also at a time where we've not been here before. And so I see all the women who are running businesses right now, who are starting businesses, who are following their dream, who are running for office, who are assuming leadership positions as pioneers in this way, because we are literally carving out a new way of being and a new way of doing as women for women, because the system that we've been handed, from this point backward has been really set up by men in structures that work for men, in ways and methods and strategies and things that work for men, because that's who was there. It's not like it's a bad thing. It just is what it is. And what I find in my work with a lot of women is that those systems and those ways of being and the way that we've been taught and told and conditioned to do things is not working anymore. It's actually working against us in a way. We're actually not able to achieve everything that we're meant to. We're actually not able to reach past a certain limit. We're not actually able to do those things when we don't update our way of processing, our way of perceiving, our way of showing up, our way of doing things on a personal level, our psychological health and our mindset and our confidence, and dealing with things like the inner critic that come up all the time for us as we're expanding and growing. And we're also just feminine beings, which is a totally different way of being and viewing the world and operating in the world. And so that's what my work really offers that's unique through the lens of coaching, is that this is everything that I do is really catered specifically toward women with their unique feminine brains and bodies and wisdom and instincts and all of those things, so that we can create strategies that are both soulful and successful and feel sexy to us as women. So that's sort of where we're coming from today. And I want to also mention, I recently changed the name of this group to the Sexy Soulful Success Revolution from the Sexy Soulful Success Sisterhood. And one reason is that's a lot of S's and it's hard to say. And also it felt like, in order to really energize and feel what I feel to be true about this group of women who's here in this group, in this Facebook group, we need a more active word to unite us, to put us on that path, to recognize that we are leading a revolution, we are leading a movement, things are shifting, and we are at the forefront. We have the opportunity as women right now, especially as leaders and entrepreneurs, to be at the forefront of that and to create it for generations of women to come after us. And not just for generations of women, because what's true is that when women are in leadership, when women hold external power in our world, we also notice that because women think so holistically and are so compassionate, typically speaking, when they're connected to their innate feminine wisdom, we start to see that not just women are rising. It doesn't mean that women rise and men fall. It doesn't mean that we aren't paying attention to the planet. It doesn't mean that we aren't paying attention to our employees or the people who we serve. It means that because we think holistically, and that is such a beautiful gift that the world needs right now, that as women leaders, we are able to rise and bring everybody up with us and rebalance the world in a really beautiful way that has not yet happened in our more recent history. And so I'm really excited about that. And I hope that you are too, if this is a group that you feel inspired to be part of and to engage with and to receive from. I want to hear your voices. And I believe that too many women's voices and too many women's, voices are going unheard, dreams are going unlived, and it's just time that ends. It's time that we start to reclaim our power as women and realize how beautiful it is to be a woman, to reclaim that art of being a woman, but in the context of our modern day world, where we're able to also redefine what womanhood means in the first place and use that as a gift to the world instead of as something that we have to fight against. And I'm going to get into one of those things that might feel that way for you and talk about today in this training how you're going to leverage that moving forward if you decide to. So today our topic is really all about tech tools for more ease and flow in business. And why is this important? If you're here, or if you're watching this, you might feel like that's important for you because you've been struggling with finding the right tools or having the right systems in place. And the different tech tools that I really love to use that have worked for me are intuitive, they're simple, they're ultimately increasing productivity and the sensation of flow. They're freeing up time and energy so that I'm able to focus and be creative and be in my zone of genius more than when I get distracted or lost or bogged down in the minutia or things that aren't really top priority or aren't making an impact or don't really matter that much. And so if you're here and you're watching this training, I'm betting that that may be true for you in some capacity, or you're starting to feel that in your business and in your life. Like there's a desire to have more stability or consistency or structure, and not in a way that feels like you're putting yourself in a box, but in a way that allows you to do more of what you love with more ease and with more flow, so that you're not having to worry about admin all the time, or you're not having to stray out of what I call your zone of genius in doing the work that you love, because you've now also, as an entrepreneur, become a photographer and a social media specialist and all the different hats that we wear, an accountant, a boss, a manager, an employee of your business perhaps. But I think it's no secret, especially as women, that we can do the multitasking thing. It's not efficient, but we can do it. And that's because we have something called diffuse awareness as women. So what that means is that the opposite of single focus, which means that we have the ability to focus on a lot of things at one time. Now, what does that actually mean? What does that translate to? So if we have the ability to focus on a lot of things at one time, it means that that feels okay. It feels comfortable for us. It doesn't feel stressful, really. It just feels normal because we're used to that in our life, in our daily life. If you've ever noticed that you've walked into a room as a woman and noticed like, oh, these things are talking to me, they're out of place, right? Like the pillow says that, oh, I'm ugly, replace me. And the window, the curtains on the windows are like, okay, open me. We need more sunlight in here. And then, the refrigerator is talking to you like, hey, fill me. We need more groceries. We don't have enough. Like our environment, we are so tuned into our environment. And that's because as women, from an evolutionary standpoint, we have been here on this planet acting primarily as gatherers. And so as gatherers, it serves us to have this diffuse awareness, to have this not single focus, but diffuse awareness where we're aware of everything at one time. Now, what we know about focus is that we only have 100% of it to give, right, at any time. So what diffuse awareness tends to do is it divides our focus between many things. And what we also know about focus is that where we put our focus is where we put our energy. And so with this evolutionary tendency for us as women, this sort of like biological hardwired tendency of diffuse awareness, what we end up seeing is that actually it feels more comfortable for us not to focus. It's harder for us to focus on one thing. And as a result, our focus and energy is sort of like spilling out everywhere. And obviously when you're running a business or when you're doing something of leadership or when you are trying to create a result, that can become very difficult. It can be the feeling of my body is working against me or my brain is working against me, right? And so what we want to do is sort of take some of those things. This is why the tech tools are so important in the context of being a woman and running a business as a feminine being, is that what we get to do then is to take some of that mental real estate and actually put it somewhere else. We get to delegate it out. We don't have to worry about it anymore. We don't have to think about it. We don't have to focus on it. It doesn't need our energy at that moment, and so we can actually focus. Some people might call that just eliminating distractions, but I love to think of it in the context of womanhood and what that means for us as feminine beings. So hopefully that is interesting for you to know too. I think it's very powerful to know that about yourself and to recognize your own tendencies and have the self-awareness and self-knowledge to say, okay, I understand why this is happening, and now I can figure out what to do about it, because then I can solve the actual problem instead of trying to do what a lot of my clients tend to come to me with, the challenge of trying to fix the top layer of the problem instead of what's really going on beneath the surface and the core challenge that we're faced with. So that's why this is so important. And for such a long time, I personally was really resistant to project management software, social media schedulers, all those things. And I wanted to feel, and I hear a lot of women say this, I wanted to be like at the whim of my inspiration and creativity and just do what feels good in every single moment. But that's not actually how productivity works all the time. Yes, there is value. You will hear me ask you that probably a lot. What feels good to you? Take what feels good and leave the rest. Yes, 100%. And at the same time, we need to create active space that's intentional to create and learn to cultivate our own creativity by freeing up our own energy leaks. And only then can we be truly creative. And also, it's important to note here that we see in women leaders and entrepreneurs a lot of the time that we have this perfectionistic tendency that many of us hold within us from our experiences or just wanting to, using this ambition that we have naturally inside of us, and it becomes sort of something that works against us instead of for us, right? And so this is a tendency that many of us hold that really keeps us stuck and small and holding back. And I remember I used to be like a proud perfectionist, right? Like that served me really well in some capacities in my life. In school, it served me well. In, academia, it served me really well. In my first job working for someone else, it served me well. And then it came to a point where it was actually not serving me anymore to be a perfectionist and to be this more type A person, because I was trying to hold on and control way too much in my business when I started working for myself a few years ago. And so it actually stopped me from being creative. It stopped me from being visible. It stopped me from putting my work out there before it was perfect. And I think another thing that I want to share with you is that as an entrepreneur and as a leader, it isn't so important that everything is just perfect. It's more important that it's done, that it's out there. And so instead of getting caught, this is actually a way that we tend to hide, is to get caught in those perfectionism. We get caught in those tendencies, and then we end up doing nothing about it. Oftentimes women will say, I'm procrastinating. And really, it's not that they're procrastinating. It's that there's something else about, like, the procrastination is the top layer, and then like 3 layers down or 4 layers down, you find the actual challenge. And that's really what I love to do with my clients, is really help them identify and drill down to what the real challenge is. Because the chances are, when you free up the energy that's entwined in that real challenge, that core issue for you, it's going to set the rest of your life free. It's not just about this one context of like, in your business, I'm a perfectionist, because the way you do one thing is the way that you do everything. So just a few little things before we really dive into the actual tools. So now that we've sort of set the stage and you sort of have an idea of why this is important in the first place and what the lensing I'm coming from is around these tools, I want you to start easy. And we're going to talk about your phone, because obviously your phone is something that is an incredible tech tool. It's also something that can be the worst thing in the world, the most distraction. You have it with you all the time. So 2 things. One, your phone, this is what I do, speaking from experience. So again, if this doesn't work for you, or if there are specific contexts in your, or specific situations in your life where this will not work for you, do something different. But for me, my phone is on Do Not Disturb all day. All day, because guess what happens if it's not? You've got dings from phone calls. Everything feels urgent, right? And those things typically are not actually urgent. They may be important, they may not be. They may be totally unimportant and unurgent. Like when someone calls you from Yelp 20,000 times a month, that is not an urgent or important call, most likely. Unless that's a marketing platform that you use, in which case maybe it is. So for me, personally speaking, that is not productive. That is actually just a distraction. It's annoying. If my phone is ringing all day, I'm probably not going to get as much done, right? That's just a fact. So put your phone on Do Not Disturb mode. And to tell you how to do that, the other thing is you just swipe up on your phone. I can't tell if you can see this. Swipe up on your phone and just hit that little moon sign. That's it. And you can turn it off, turn it back on, whatever. The other thing that I find really helpful is airplane mode at night on my phone. So I like to sleep with airplane mode on, because what happens if I don't is I wake up to like a million notifications on my phone. Sure, because I'm in Do Not Disturb, they weren't like dinging all night. But when I wake up, I already feel behind. It's like the same thing as checking your email first thing in the morning, when it's like overwhelming and you're getting distracted before you even get started. So I love to sleep with my phone on airplane mode, so that when I look at my phone first thing in the morning to check, the time, or to, use my alarm or whatever, turn off my alarm, I'm not instantly hit with like 10,000 notifications from Instagram and Facebook and all these other things. And if you're like me and you're a woman in business running her own thing, you probably use Instagram and Facebook and all of these things as tools for your business as well. And maybe there are other apps on your phone that you're using as tools for your business. So waking up to business first thing is not going to help you do better. It's not going to help you focus your attention. It's not going to help you be less distracted. It's not going to help you be more efficient or productive or impactful in your work. And so those two things will totally transform your life. If you only do those two things and you're not currently doing them, this will be a big shift for you. Okay. The second thing is a lot of women who I meet who are starting their businesses or who are running businesses, a website is obviously something very important that we have. It's like our virtual home in a way, right? It's where someone comes, it's like your brick and mortar store if you had one. It's like the display window, right? So when I walk by my favorite store, Anthropologie, and I see this storefront window, it tells me whether I want to go in or not, right? Same with any other store that you might walk by. The window display is important. So when you think about your website, it's almost like your window display equivalent running a business online, or if depending on how someone is connecting with you or meeting you for the first time, you want that website to feel the way that a window display would feel. You want it to be beautiful. You want it to feel like an extension of you. You want it almost to feel like if someone were to meet you in person or to meet you through your website, that they would be getting the same feeling and you would have the same impact on them, right? So that can be really tricky because that includes a lot of things. There are, it's the layout, it's the content, it's the photos, it's everything, right? And the important part, I think, about a website, either way, it's going to take a lot of work, but you can make it easier on yourself. So for me, I did a lot of research in the beginning of my business on different website platforms, what they all offered, all this stuff. And at the time, I believe Squarespace was a little bit newer, and WordPress was like most people were on WordPress. For me, I love Squarespace. It's super intuitive. It's beautiful. They offer beautiful designs. It's really easy to go in and edit things. Super user-friendly, really like low cost. It's easy to use, and that's the most important thing for me when I was choosing my website, because I knew I'm going to be on this thing a lot and I can either frustrate myself every single day a lot when I'm on it, or it can be easy and it can feel good and it can look beautiful. So for me, I love Squarespace, and that's what I always recommend when I'm talking to someone and they're asking me about website platforms. Squarespace all the way. And now that Squarespace is sort of like, more ubiquitous, it's more present for people, there are a lot of other programs that offer plugins and things for Squarespace. So it's not super difficult to set things up or to link things together or to whatever. So there are lots of extra features and things like that. And also the other cool thing about Squarespace is that you can host your podcast straight from Squarespace. You don't need an additional plugin. So that's really been helpful for me personally. And if you host a podcast or you're thinking about it, I highly recommend Squarespace because it makes that whole process so simple and streamlined, which I believe is really important because you don't want like 10,000 unnecessary steps in the process when you're trying to create something and put something out in the world and make it visible. Because usually we are, as women leaders, as women entrepreneurs, we tend to also have this a little bit of like fear and things that pop up when we are putting things out there. So you want to make this process as easy as possible for you to share your voice, share your message, share content, create new things, communicate with your people. You want it to be easy. Because if it's not, you'll probably spend more time there, which means you might also have the more opportunities to come up with self-doubt or fears or limiting beliefs about, should I really be doing this? Or is anyone going to care, right? Because the work that you're putting in is a little bit more tedious. The mindset pieces that pop up will be more tedious as well. Okay. The next thing is Post Planner. So planning your social media posts in advance is something that I've been told to do forever, and I'm only recently starting to do it, and it feels so much better now. And I think for me personally, it didn't feel good before because I wasn't 100% sure on my vision and my mission and my core messaging and all of that stuff. But now that I know that, it's so much easier to sit down and create content at one time and bulk create that content and then plan it out, or delegate it to my virtual assistant who can plan it out for me and put it into Post Planner. So if you have an employee working under you who is in charge of your social media, this would be a great tool for them and for you to be able to collaborate on this content creation and getting it out there. And also, it makes it simpler so that if you don't have someone else supporting you and this is a solo venture for you, it makes it so that you're not constantly having to be on social media, because that is another time suck and an energy leak for us. And we don't want to be on social media all day, every day. We want to be living our damn lives. That's why we started a business in the first place, right? It's for the freedom not to feel tied to your phone at every moment and to not be present ever. So social media planning is awesome. Post Planner, I believe they have plans as low as like $9 a month. So not expensive at all. Okay, the next one is Stripe. I love using Stripe for payment processing for my clients and for the financials in my business. It gives you some really great charts. I know they have API hookup things, and I don't even know exactly what that means because I'm super not that technical. But Stripe is really awesome. It integrates with a lot of different platforms as well. Squarespace is one of them. I believe it's also MailChimp. I'm not sure. I've never hooked that up. But when I was doing my research about financial platforms to use to process payments in my business, I had used PayPal in the past. And Stripe actually has a really great percentage that they take. So it's not going to be like a lot of other platforms take a lot more money out of what you're actually making, and you end up making less, getting less back as a result. So Stripe is awesome. I don't remember the exact percent, but you can find it on their website super easily. And I personally like to take payment information over the phone, so that works for me because they don't have to go in and set it up. It sort of eliminates some of the steps in the process for signing up clients. Okay, another one that I want to share with you is something that I used a while ago in my business when I first started out to sort of streamline a lot of those contract, scheduling, a lot of the admin in my business, almost all of it, through Satori. And that's spelled Satori. And I believe it's $25 a month, but it combines a lot of things that you would normally pay separately for. Not that I'm saying this, maybe I'll just use that again because it was really great. Anyway, so you can integrate it with a lot of different payment methods. I need to check into whether it integrates with Stripe because that would be the only thing that would be holding me back from doing that. But it's a really great thing because basically you send someone a link to sign up for a program or a product or a service, and then they can go through the whole onboarding process that's automated through that. So they'd e-sign their contract, they'd schedule their sessions. It keeps track of how many sessions that client has left. So you know that and they know that. There's not this whole in-between tracking thing happening. The contract is there. They have to sign the contract in order to sign up and opt in. The only challenging thing about that in the past was that I couldn't take information for payments over the phone. So I'd have to put another step in the process and send somebody a link, then wait for them to sign up and send it back to me. And I wasn't sure if they were going to. So that was sort of challenging, but I know that Bailey, a friend of mine, uses this, and I think she does payment information over the phone. So there must be a way that it works. So there's that. Yes, okay, and then the next one is Calendly. So if you don't have if you're not using Satori, you don't have a way for people to schedule with you, if you're sick of going back and forth with emails trying to get an appointment set up, Calendly is a really great way for people you can set up your calendar in there. It syncs with Google Calendar. It may sync with other calendars as well. But basically you can create different lengths of appointments and things and different links for those. Lengths and links, time and links, URL links, and send that to somebody so they can set up an appointment or a meeting with you. So I have different ways that I do that. One is for consultation calls, 30-minute consultation calls, and another is for my clients who are already in my programs to set up and schedule their sessions. So you can do it a lot of different ways. You can make lots of different types of appointments, and you can have different intentions behind those. I also use it for podcast interview scheduling, which is really awesome and really easy to streamline that process. Okay, what's next? MailChimp. Yay, MailChimp. If you don't already have an email newsletter, this is a really important thing for your business, because while it's awesome to build your social media platforms, the most important thing is that you actually own those email addresses, you own those contacts, you own those people's information. So what can happen is that, algorithms are changing with social media all the time. We don't have ownership over, I don't own my social media followers, and neither do you in your business. And so the important piece of social media is actually to build a following, to convert them to your email newsletter so that you actually have ownership over that information, so that you can use it. And no matter what happens, you have that foundation in your business. You have that client base or prospect base. So that's a really important thing. MailChimp is awesome. You can set up automation. You can do an onboarding series for new clients and new signups. You can set up a sort of like introductory welcome series of emails, which I highly recommend to all of my clients to do when someone signs up for your email list or opts in for a free offer. You can set up that free opt-in offer delivery system. You can send weekly or however often campaigns to your list. You can create layouts and templates and things in there. It's very easy to use, like drag and drop your pictures, change all the settings, and it's very simple and straightforward. And there are a lot of trainings out there about how to use MailChimp well and how to optimize things. So I highly recommend using MailChimp. Another one that is helpful is if you are doing something in business where you have a lot of documents that need to be signed or transferred between people, and e-signatures would be of benefit. So that is DocHub, and I really love using DocHub. It's a great platform to be able to easily upload documents and just insert like different fields for people to fill out. And then just send that to them directly. They'll get an email where they get to go in and just pretty much click, and then they're done. It's very easy. So that's a very good one. DocHub is the name of that, DocHub. We also have one that I recently discovered, which is an app called MileIQ. This has been something in my business that has been a freaking headache for years, and I'm so excited to find MileIQ. It's free. And you can use it to track your mileage, and it will automatically, when you set it up, it tracks your trips in your car. So it will tell you how many miles you drove from where to where, and you get to go in then online and sort of classify each of those things. So if you set it up, and let's say you give yourself like 20 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe even less, depending on how much you drive each week, to go in and classify those drives and categorize them and say, okay, this is for business, this was personal. And if it's for business, this is the category it falls under. And if you need to make any notes in there, you can. Super easy. I'm like, what? Where has this been? This is great. So that is wonderful. Please do that. Tell me how it goes. Another app that I really love is MyFlow. And this is an app for actually tracking your menstrual cycle, but you would be shocked at how helpful this is in planning your business efforts and planning your life, and even communicating with your partner, planning when to do big things like launches and things like that. This is really important to have, because the fact is, as women, we are constantly cycling through different hormone changes, different brain functioning that's optimal at that time of the month. And so with these different phases, you can plan out your month and week and year in a way that actually serves you and benefits you and leverages where you are instead of working against you. So for example, during your menstrual cycle, you are so much better, like your energy is so much better used when it is in internal processing, journaling, writing, a lot more creative things potentially than things like filming a video or having a photo shoot or things like that. So using this, it'll give you a really great guide. This is what it looks like. And then if you just sort of like click a day, it'll tell you like, this is luteal phase, here's what's happening. And then you can click read more and it'll tell you like each different thing. So it has hormones, focus, exercise, food, and love. It'll tell you exactly what's happening with your body and what is optimal at that time. So it's awesome. This app is my favorite thing in the world. It really helps me to plan out my business and life, but also to just know what the heck is happening. Like sometimes there is, well, without fail, I feel like I've talked about this before, but without fail, there's always a 2-day period, 48 hours, right before my period starts where I feel like nothing makes sense. Like, I'm like, why am I running this business? What is going on? Does anyone care? Is this even worthy? Am I making sense? Like, what is the point of anything? And so that really helps me to know, like, okay, it's just because this is where you are in your cycle. It's not because this is true. And it helps me to stop believing the lies that sometimes our brains or our bodies or our hormones will sort of click on in our system, and helps me create momentum instead of feeling stuck or stagnant when those beliefs and things pop up. So that's a really awesome one that I highly recommend. I think it's like $1.99 one time, and it's a really awesome app. I highly recommend it to all of my clients, everyone I work with, every woman I meet. Oh, hi, Alyssa. I didn't know you were here. I can't see who's here. It's very weird. Okay, cool. Yes, it's called MyFlow. It's spelled MYFLO, no W. And yes, it does show you exactly what you should be focusing on that day. It also tells you like what you need intimacy-wise with your partner if you're in a relationship. It will also tell you what's happening with your hormones, so which are rising, which are falling, what's going on, why you might be feeling that way. It tells you what kind of exercises are best for this phase of your cycle. It's really awesome. And it has a lot of other features, so you can track your cycle and actually put in a lot of details about how you're feeling those days. And I recommend doing that because when you do that, then you start to notice more patterns and get to know your own cycle better. So for example, like if I click on this day, here's all the different things. It's hard to see, I know, because it's a video, but it'll ask you like, what are you experiencing? No symptoms, backache, blemishes, cravings, constipation, bloating. And then you can track like how you're supporting your flow. So are you using the like brain exercise and food recommendations for that day from the app? And then you can say, is this cycle better than the last? Yes or no. And it'll sort of take stock of your cycle and your natural rhythm that happens for you every month, and what changes help and what patterns are normal for you. Sometimes it might just be like a one-off pattern thing, and sometimes it's a more consistent thing. So you might actually notice if you do need to seek some additional supplements or things that might support you with all of that. It'll be easier, make your life better. Yay. Okay, so the next one is Google Drive. I freaking love Google Drive. Google Drive is everything. It is the way that I back up every file. It's the way that I love to store all of my client notes. It's easy to share documents. It's easy to upload videos and recordings of coaching calls that I've done for group programs. I link everything through my membership site on my website to Google Drive links because it's so simple. What else do I do with Google Drive? Obviously with Google Drive, you have a Gmail account, so that's awesome. And in your Gmail account, what I like to do in my email inbox is create a, like for this year, I've done it for the past 3 years now. So I create a folder that is, you know, it says like 2018 tax receipts, and I'll put any digital receipt that I have, I'll just file it and move it to that folder so that when I do my accounting, when I do my taxes, or when I send them out to be done, I can just basically access that folder and everything's there. It makes it very easy. And what else? Google Drive is just wonderful. And it also is great for if you do work from multiple locations, or you have multiple computers, or you have the option to work remotely. It's awesome because all of my files are there at any time, on any computer, on any device, on anything. So I can access them easily and simply and share them with the people who need to see them. It's great for collaborating. You can be with, like my friend Sydney and I are planning a workshop together for February 11th in Pittsburgh. So if you're around, you should come. But we were doing that the other day, and we were writing some of the content out, and we were in the same document at the same time writing and getting things done. It's so efficient and awesome. So that's great if you don't already use Google Drive. Google Calendar is something else that is linked with Google Drive and a Gmail account, which is also everything to me. It is, you know, you can create calendar invites. I do this for all of my coaching programs, all of my coaching clients. It sends you reminders. You can color code. It's just wonderful. If you don't already use Google Drive, I don't know why you don't, but you should. Or Google Calendar. Another one that I love to use is Zoom Conference, and this is a great one for video conferencing if you have group programs that you lead, or if you have meetings or recordings, or you're filming guest training videos, or you're filming your own videos, or whatever you're doing. This is an awesome tool. And I recently set up, you can, if you have a group program like I do for the Soulful Success Collective, I set up a link specifically for those calls that, and there are a lot of features that you can, you know, choose from. So I set it weekly at that call time. So the meeting room is open for people when they get there. They don't have to wait for me to open it. I also set it up so that it automatically records so that I never forget and I don't have to worry about it. And so many things. It's usually a very reliable platform. I used to use Google Hangouts, but that since has become not so great. And it's great for video, like webinars. I did my webinar at the end of the challenge on there on Zoom, so I highly recommend Zoom. It's very reliable. You can also host larger groups of participants, which is great. So there's not like a small cap limit like a lot of video conferencing tools. And I think you can use a free account for a lot of things, but if you do have groups, there is a paid account. And I'm going to see after this if I can find, I might have like an affiliate link or something that you'll save some money if you sign up through me for Zoom. So I'll post that in the comments on this post if I can find it. And then another thing that I really love is Uber Conference. I use that to record my podcasts, a conference line for my private clients, podcast recordings, meetings, lots of things. And I just link that information for my Uber conference line up in my Google Calendar invites to people, or in, what else? Oh, in Calendly, which integrates with Google Calendar, so it's easy and streamlined, but that's really wonderful as well. Okay, the last one that I have for you today is Asana, which is an intuitive task management software. It sends you daily emails with your tasks. It's like basically a to-do list on steroids that is organized and amazing. You can set due dates for things, for projects. You can create many different projects with different tasks underneath. You can delegate to employees or team members or other people that you're collaborating with. You can add notes, you can add files and attachments. You can do so much. And there are lots of amazing trainings on YouTube for how to use Asana for your unique business model and to do specific things like content creation or project management, like whatever. So you can find them on YouTube. There's a really great woman, I can't remember her name, but maybe I can link up in the comments as well so you can find it, that I watched a few of her trainings and I was like, wow, okay, Asana makes sense. And I had signed up for it a really long time ago. It's free, it's a free account. And I think it was like 4 years ago I signed up for it and started using it. And then I was like, yeah, this isn't really working for me right now. And only recently have I come back to it now that I have a virtual assistant working with me for a lot of things. And it just makes it so easy. Like communication is so easy and simple. And me knowing and holding myself accountable is so simple. I know someone had posted a question, I can't remember exactly where or who, but something that would hold them accountable to following through. And Asana does that really well because it will send you, when you set your due dates and things, it sends you, and you know, assign yourself to a task. It'll send you an email daily where you'll get like, here are all the things that are due today, or here are all the things that are due this week, or whatever. So you can actually hold yourself accountable, which is really awesome. And even if you do work a corporate job or something, this is a really great tool for you in terms of like following up on things and setting due dates and remembering to do things. This is such a great tool to be able to free up a lot of mental real estate so you're not constantly thinking about or worrying about other things that are sort of swirling in your mind. So, okay. Whew, I tried to fit as much in as I could in that amount of time, but we are like 45 minutes in, and wow, I didn't expect to be going that long or talking that long. But I hope that this training was helpful for you, and I look forward to hearing your insights and questions in the comments for this training. If you have any additional questions or ideas for upcoming trainings or things you'd like to hear, check out the event tab on the left side of this Facebook group. There's a little tab that says events. Go there. I just posted a ton of them. I have a weekly live training in this group, and I'd love to see you every week if you can make it. If not, check out the replay of the live stream after we end. And what else do I want to share with you? So check out the events tab, see what the upcoming trainings are about. Make sure that you say that you're interested or going so that you get notifications when the event is coming up and you remember to show up and ask questions. You can post any questions you have about that specific topic in the comments in like the discussion in the event page. I'd love that so that I can make sure that I'm delivering and providing exactly what you need each week. And other than that, a couple things that I have open at the moment. One is that I have some spots still available in the Soulful Success Collective group coaching program. We meet weekly for Sister Circle calls where we do laser-focused spotlight coaching for your business and your life. And you also get to connect with an incredible community of other women. We have a private Facebook group specifically for that group where we hold each other accountable every single week. And we have a workbook every month. We have a guided meditation every month to keep you grounded and focused and on mission. And we also have guest mentors that will be in the group doing live trainings as well in their zone of genius, which are different from mine. So you'll be able to receive a lot of support for your business and in your life there. And of course, I use a very an approach to coaching and a style of coaching that really sits well with your innate feminine wisdom and helps to bring that out in you and helps to focus you on your mission and your leadership instead of getting caught up in the minutia or the tiny details or tasks that you have going on. So that is a really awesome group. The investment is $197 a month for 6 months. You can join us at any time. The link to that is emilycastle.com/collective on my website. So you can sign up there and join us, and I'll add you into the Facebook group as soon as I receive your confirmation that you're in. And let's see, what else? I have a private coaching spot open. If anyone is interested in that, you can email me at emily@emilycastle.com. And I'm also about to open applications, probably next month, for a high-level business mastermind that will include guest mentors, retreats, private coaching, group work, archetype work, half-day intensives on a seasonal basis, but so much goodness. And it will be a really, really powerful group of women joining us for that experience who are ready for a much deeper, highly focused, highly invested time It will be, I think, 9 months is what I'm deciding on. And we will have a retreat. The retreat will be included in the investment for that program. So keep an eye out for that. If you're interested in signing up, you can email me at emily@emilycastle.com and I can send you the link for the application early. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can reach out to me. And if you have any other questions at all, you can submit them in the group and post them, or you can just email me personally if you want to reach out. And again, my email is emily@emilycastle.com. So I hope this training was powerful for you. It's been really fun to share this with you today and to hopefully support you in your growth and in creating more sexy, soulful success in your life and in your business. And I look forward to seeing you here next week and chatting with you about today's podcast episode in the group in a few moments. So I will talk to you soon, loves, and thank you for being here. Bye, ladies.